In this video, I would like to talk about the time as related to the 12 meridians. So this is the Chinese name. I don't know how to translate it in English. This is 子午流珠, which means 子 is the time, 11 p.m. to 1 a.m. Wu, which is the 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. So that in the ancient Chinese, we divided the day in 12 hours instead of, now we call it 24 hours a day. So you say is that one Chinese hour is 2 hours, right? 2 modern hours. So you split a circle into 12 sections and it becomes a day instead of half day, okay? So mainly it starts like this. Every 2-hour session, 11 to 1, 1 to 3, 3 to 5, 5 to 7, 7 to 9, 9 to 11, 11 to 1 a.m., p.m., then 1 to 3, 3 to 5, 5 to 7, 7 to 9, 9 to 11, 11 to 1, and so on. Some places, like Australia, has daylight savings, so you shift 1 hour before, ahead or behind, but it doesn't matter because it is nature, it doesn't matter how we count it. Okay? So what does it represent? In the 12 meridians, we always start in order, as I mentioned in previous videos, in order like the lungs, large intestine, stomach, spleen, heart, small intestines, bladder, kidney, the circulation, triple warmer, gallbladder, and liver, then back to lung again. This is the way that the meridians are connected. You start from one side and the other, and then keep connected and connected one another. So the meridian is not alone. It's not just from this is the beginning, this is the end. You may think that the whole 12 meridian system is a big loop, and each meridian is one particular section. Okay, so in this big loop, one section for the lung, and one section for large intestine, and one section for the stomach, and so on and so forth. And we allocated each time frame for each meridians. Okay, the lung is 3 a.m. to 5 a.m., large intestine 5 a.m. to 7 a.m., and stomach 7 to 9, and so on and so forth. And to 1 a.m. to 3 a.m. is liver. So this is the big cycle. So what does it mean? For example, if you have coughing, and that cough is caused by the lung, of course. Sometimes you see you don't normally cough in daytime, but more coughing at night. And when you sleep, if the cough comes from a weak lung meridians, probably you're coughing up, and your cough wakes you up at 3 to 5 a.m. Okay? Some of my friends who had working long hours and developed a bad liver, they claim that they wake up in the middle of the night. And I asked them, what time do you actually wake up? He said 1:30 a.m. every morning or every night. So it belongs to the liver meridians, which is between 1 and 3 a.m. Okay, so it reflects the meridians, or you say that such meridian is most active during that hour of the day. So it really depends on your local time. 6 months ago, I was still in Hong Kong. There are 2 hours difference. So Australia, with Sydney, is 2 hours ahead of Hong Kong. With daylight saving, it would be 3 hours. Your sleeping pattern change. The time you eat, you work change. So after a few days of transition, making myself adjust, then my body behaves in the local time, okay, regardless of daylight saving. Okay, now it's winter time, so we push back an hour. Now it's 2 hours different. In summer, it's 3 hours different between Sydney and Hong Kong. So how do we use this in, say, energy healing in Reiki or Qigong? When we do Reiki, or mostly Reiki, we input our energy in such meridians. If these clients come to me at, say, 11 to 1 a.m., 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. within these sections, regardless of what happens to this client, what I would do is to input energy in this meridian, because this is more active, and remind that these are the different sections of a big cycle. So I'm taking advantage of the most active meridians at the time. Injecting energy into these meridians helps. Okay, instead of say if he has a weak kidney, then I input energy directly in the kidney first. Yes, I will do that later. I'll first consider the time that we are happening right now, and work on such meridian first, and then work on the meridian that the clients needs. Okay. Sometimes, if you feel, in Reiki level 2, I teach to sense, what we call the energy scanning. You have the touch and feel of the client's energy shield, aura, or whatever. You feel that there's a need of energy, and you apply the theory of the relationship of the five elements as before in previous videos. The ideal is, of course, if you have time, then you apply energy to all the aspects, all 5 meridians and all 12, all 5 elements and all 12 meridians, if you have time. So this is the 12 hours, 12 Chinese hours, and the 12 meridians, how they are related. So if you watch this video and think, just think about, have you ever experienced that? For example, I have, when I was very little, as a baby, I caught a very bad cold, and I was very thin. I'm a big fat guy now, but I used to be very thin before, at the age before 7. After 7, I become, I blew up. I don't know why. Because of the time and things, but I won't go into detail. I had a very weak lung before I was becoming an adult, and so I am a very experienced cougher. Right? I used to cough a lot, and every night I wake up between 3 to 5 a.m. because of coughing. I didn't know why, but until when I get older and catch information about the acupressure, meridians information, then knowledge, then I say, oh yeah, that it happens to me. And people, some of my friends, when I share with this knowledge with them, they say, yeah, we have a different kind of reflection on the body situation, the weakness, and according to the time. So this is this is the knowledge how the 12 meridians are allocated in different times. So when we do Reiki, even when we do acupressure massage on ourselves, when we do Reikis on ourselves and others, depending on the time, the first to work on is the meridians that you are actually working on at this moment. For example, as I'm filming, this is 3:25 p.m. in Sydney. So if the clients comes in, I will work on the bladder meridians first, because this is the most active at this point, at this time. Later on, we also talk about these meridians comes in pairs. Remember that in the 5 elements, for example, the kidneys and bladders are in the water element. So the first, for example, if I have my Reiki session in an hour or 1 hour 30 minutes, then I'll probably, the first 10 minutes, I will go for the bladder meridians, and the second 10 minutes will go for the kidney meridians, because they work in pairs. So it is like the president and the 5 vice presidents of these 2 Chinese hour session, and this is the chairman or the president of these 2 hours, and this becomes the vice president, and it comes here. So this is now the president, and the bladder becomes the vice president of the water. So yes, you will find a lot of charts and diagrams about the meridians and time, how they are related. So I'm just writing it so I can talk. You look for it yourself, and this is how I work on the time and the meridians at the time.